that kind of led me to be atheist for a long time. And then a whole bunch of other things also happened that made me be atheist for a long time. And bro, I'll be 100% honest, man. I was the most depressed that I've ever been in my life when I was atheist.
Yeah, I wanted to ask
Like,
you, how did it make you feel? Because I remember I lived for 15 years and as a complete atheist, I was like ridiculing every religion. So what were you feeling in those years? You know, like what was your like, you have no God concept, nothing. So
yeah, it was a lot of inferiority issues. I felt inferior and I felt a slave to not only my emotions but to my thoughts. Like whatever was going on in my head, I felt like I was a slave to these things, and it really sucks, man. It really sucks because like you don't have that spiritual sense, that awakening, or just that realization or the understanding, the intuition, where it's like you start to see things on a bigger scale. So it's like you can only see things that have already been clear cut and like proven, or it's like it's right in front of your face. Like I can see this, I can touch it, I can feel it, I can prove it. I was in this like lost atheistic, hedonistic as well. Not just atheistic, but hedonistic, where it's like I was a slave to my emotions and my thoughts, but I was also a slave to my desires, where it's like I didn't feel anything, so I was trying to make myself feel something by doing all these drugs, partying all the time, having sex, watching pornography all the time, doing all these things to try to get away from this like empty feeling that I felt. It was crazy, bro. It was crazy. And just like you, bro, I would ridicule people whoever spoke about spirituality or religion. I'm like, bro, you're out of your mind, man. Like you're ridiculous, bro.
so how would you maybe explain, I mean, this is a difficult question, but how would you explain something like faith or iman to someone who never grew up in a church or anything like that, and he's like maybe an agnostic or atheist? Is there a way that you can communicate what this means, or is it something that they have to experience to have like real understanding? Because there are some things in life you have to really experience to know it, and some things you can just kind of tell somebody. But how would you go about this? Because I think a lot of times we get into these arguments, but they don't really understand what faith is, like putting
Bro,
like that.
it's a leap of faith. And it's funny because like faith is a leap of faith. It's essentially like you're trusting in the unknown. You're taking a chance. You're taking a chance because at the end of the day, like yes, we have the book and all that, but like we need to take the step. We need to make the leap of faith. You know, no one's gonna make us believe except ourselves. We have to be the ones to take the leap, and that's what iman is, where you taking that leap and you're having complete trust in Allah. And if they try to even say anything against that, they try to argue against that. It's like, well, you're taking the leap to not trust in Allah. You see what I'm saying? Where it's like, dude, you go into the dark, you don't know what's in the dark. You can choose to stay exactly where you are, or you can choose to walk forward, not knowing what's gonna happen, but you choosing to walk forward. You're taking a leap of faith that you're trusting in the unknown. You don't know what it is. You don't know what's gonna happen. It's unseen, but you're taking the leap of faith. And like that's the best way I can explain it, bro.
Mhm. Yeah, I think like both options are actually very difficult to make, because I think most people are not atheists, or they are not like religious. They are just like somewhere in between. They don't really think about this. But you have to, at least at some point in your life, you come to the conclusion that, all right, I have to make a decision here, whether everything is random and like the entire life and the universe can be explained with natural selection, evolution, Big Bang, and I just trust in science, and God help me because I don't believe in
Yeah.
him. And then, or I will try to find God by looking at religious books or something, and we'll see if something resonates with me. And that's a decision you have to make. And that was a decision that I was kind of going through.
Mhm.
And it's like both are pretty not insane, but pretty major, because like one claims there's nothingness, the other one claims no, there's actually like something that's all powerful and in control of everything. So you have to pick. And yeah, most people don't choose until they die.
Yeah.
But I mean, at least some atheists who really believe it, at least they chose it, and you know, that's their choice. But at least they thought about it and they picked the other side. But most people just stay in the lane and just like they don't care about this.
Yeah, I think you know how in the Quran it says that Allah guides who He wills and He leads astray who He wills, and whoever is led astray, like you can't do anything for them to be able to bring them onto the path. You know, like I think that has to do with our egos, and like people who are atheists or even maybe in a midway point between religion and atheism, or maybe they're just part of like a different religion where it's just kind of like misconstrued and altered. It's the ego. The ego is so attached to what's going on that they can't submit. They can't step down, and because they can't step down, they're never going to be able to understand, because we have the fitra, you know, like Islam is the natural religion. It's the religion where if there was no religion, that's your natural religion. That's where you would naturally follow your fitra, your innate belief. But then you have Islam, which coincides with your natural religion. It's the one that's like, it's perfect. It's what it's meant to be. But it's like you have these people who they are attached to something. And because they're attached to this one thing, they can't accept that. They don't want to read it. They don't want to look at it. They don't want to hear anything about that. And because of that, they're essentially deaf, dumb, and blind. Right. And it goes again to this the same question is like, you can choose to believe in God or you can choose not to believe in God. But wouldn't you rather choose to believe in God and, you know, at the end be like, you know, thankfully I believed, because imagine if I didn't believe. I'll be over here in Jahannam. I'm over here in the damn hellfire. Like a lot of people, they want to say, that's not real, like heaven, hell. It's like, how do you know? You know, again, like I'm taking the leap of faith here. They're taking the leap of faith, but they're choosing to not believe while I'm choosing to believe. Whereas, like, you know what, at the end, if it's not real, bro, it is what it is. Like, I'm still living in the best possible way that I can live. I'm trying to be the best person that I can be, and I'm worshiping the creator. And if it is, well then, bro, same thing applies, except now I have insurance that's basically saying, okay, actually I don't have insurance. I take that back because we're not guaranteed anything. Yeah, I have a better chance. I would say that.
Stand a better chance.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess people, you really have to be open to it. Like if you are not believing right now, but you really genuinely want to find out if God exists, just be open to the possibility that God exists and study different religions or study, you know, read the Bible, read the Quran, read whatever. Some people read the Quran and they say like, oh, this is not for me. And it's like, some people reading it, it's like, this is exactly what I was looking for. So it's like, you never know. And, you know, so if you're open to it and once you read, it will just speak to you and then you get it. But if you're not open to it and you go into it with the mindset of I'm going to disprove everything, then it's just like, that's not going to work. You know,
you coming into it with your ego.
Yeah, arrogance and, you know, stuff like that. Do you remember when you used to be an atheist? Like, how did you feel? Can you still remember that? Did you have this meaningless feeling of life, like this kind of like nothing matters attitude?
Yeah, and I was always like trying to escape from what I felt. You know, I was trying to run away from my depression, from my anger, from my anxiety. Had suicidal thoughts, bro. I had all that you could think of, and I was just trying to run away from it. I never spent time alone. I was always doing something. I was like on my phone. I'm trying to distract myself, watching movies, playing video games, listening to music, being with people, doing drugs and all this stuff. And it sucks, bro. it sucks. So like for someone to say like, how can you be a Muslim now where it's like so strict and you can't even drink alcohol, you can't smoke weed, you can't do any of this stuff. Where it's like, dude, I wasn't happy doing any of that stuff anyways.
Yeah, it looks nice. Like when I was walking outside, it looks nice when people are drinking wine and everything, but I know how it feels. Like I know the hangover after that, and I know
Yeah,
the feeling that you need to smoke a cigarette right after you drink, because it goes both hand in hand. Like after I drink, I need to smoke a cigarette, and then I smoke weed, and then it just goes. And I never stop with one beer or one wine. I always get like
yeah,
5, 6, 7, and it
yeah,
just never had
yeah,
a case just like one beer. That never happens.
yeah.
So you know it looks nice, but then and then you feel the second day is like the worst, just the total opposite. uh,
Yeah, and it's like, bro, like you need to take these things to be able to socialize and connect with other people.
yeah,
Like that shows you have a big fault. That shows that like there's something inside of you that you're not taking care of. Because like you need something in order for you to just chill out and you to just not be so caught up in your head and have all these inhibitions.